So to make my pumpkin bread, I'm gonna use some sourdough starter that I keep in the fridge when I don't use it. So it's been there for a few days, and I'm gonna use that kind of dish. I'm gonna put it in a dehydrator, so it's important to have a lid on so it wouldn't actually dehydrate but sort of get warm, because it's winter now, and it's good to well, for me, I found it's better because it makes the process faster, and I can make it bread in one day. So I'm just gonna put some sourdough starter here, some warm water, and a little bit of this flour, which is corazon. I'm not really sure how you say it, but it's an wheat flour, which is a better sort of flour, I guess. It's I think it's Kamut flour. It's the same as corazon flour. I got it from Beer House in Australia. It's grown in Australia. So first I would mix my sourdough starter with some warm water, and then I would add the flour, which looks like this. It's really nice. And try to make sure that it's fermented properly and it has a really sour taste. It might not make a fluffy bread, but it will ferment really well. And I just use it as a flat bread or like a pizza bread. And put some. So we need to make add another flour to make it thicker. So after I make it thick enough, I just put it in my dehydrator on a warm temperature. And also I must definitely feed the original starter. I can use a new jar and just leave some of this. This is full of bacteria. So what sourdough starter is like a probiotic for yogurt. The sourdough starter is a beneficial bacteria that ferments wheat and other things, like even pumpkin and sugar. So I just put it on the bottom of my dehydrator there, and the temperature we have raisin bread 43. I leave it in 41 and just turn it on, and after about 2-3 hours I may add some pumpkin. The dehydrator gets really warm, so it's very smart to use it like for different things like sauerkraut or growing plants and stuff. Because I have this heat mat there and I have the lights there, so I left my dehydrator next to the lights so I can grow some plants on the dehydrator using heat, and especially like for the propagation, plants really need to get the bottom heat, and this heat mat works great, but this also can be used in a smart way. I'm just watering today. Now I just need to pick up a pumpkin from my old garden, and I would pick a few there, and I would pick the one that's growing right there before it falls down. So I can't actually get in to the garden because I can't open the gate. I'm worried that I'm gonna damage the pumpkin plant. There it is. I just cut with some leaves on it. I can dry the leaves as well and use them. So now I'm just gonna blend this part with the skin, and I'm gonna leave these seeds for the raw bread. So I'm not gonna use these seeds for my baked bread because they have a good value when they're raw. So I'm gonna blend this in a powerful blender with some water, and then I'm gonna add this to my dough. Dough looks a bit more fluffy now. So it's been about 3 hours. Pumpkin. So it's just half. I'm gonna put another half. Maybe. I'm gonna leave it for another 4 or 5 hours until it ferments really well. Have to keep an eye on it, and after that, so this is the second time I put pumpkin in here, and roughly it's about the same amount of pumpkin and the same amount of flour here, and we see a lot of bubbles here. That means that bacteria is multiplying and it's just happy. I don't put any salt or pepper now because I prefer to put it into the dip for the bread. So we always eat this bread with some kind of dip, and I prefer to eat salt and pepper raw. So usually make like avocado dip. So I mix this second batch of pumpkin into this bread, and I'm actually going to put it into the tray where it's going to be baked. It's going to be baked tomorrow, so I'm gonna just leave it for the night in the oven to ferment properly, to make sure it's fermented properly. And I think bacteria doesn't have any problem with pumpkin, because pumpkin is a bit sweet. And I can show you the starter. The starter looks bubbly as well there, and the starter, the sourdough starter, the one that I keep, the original one without any pumpkin or anything, I'm gonna put it into the fridge until the next time. Maybe like I'm gonna use it in 2 or 3 days, but it's very important to use it frequently, otherwise it's just going to go bad. So in the morning, this dough looked exactly the same like anemone, but still bacteria fermented a lot of sugars in there. And I baked this on a very low temperature, maybe about 90 or 100 degrees, but every oven is different, and I'm pretty sure it's a bit higher. So about 100, I baked it for a few hours, and it looks like this, and it's still kind of raw inside. So what I do, sometimes it's very easy to peel it off and just turn it and cook it on the other side, because it's still raw inside. But I'm going to like here, it's very easy to peel. Or maybe if I would put some olive oil it would be easier to peel, or if I would use a baking paper, but this Thermomix thing doesn't seem to work this time. So I'm just gonna turn it, and I'm just gonna sort of dry it and bake it on 100 degrees for another maybe 2 hours or so, to let this dry. So there I was able to turn it. It looks like this thing still worked. I'm sorry, Thermomix. And it's just this piece that peeled off in the middle, so you can see how raw it looks there. And yeah, it looks different every time, and it takes like 2 days to cook this really fermented bread that I don't feel sick after, and it's sort of healthy for you in a way that comparing to normal bread. And sometimes like it looks like this, very dry, like flat bread, and it's very hot, so I use it as a pizza base. So just put some tomato sauce, avocado sauce on top, and let it sit for a couple of hours, and it becomes soft and really nice. And this one is just white flour and chili. It's not for me. So but it's super dry, and you can keep it like for a long time in case, and that's my dream, to have a lot of those for every day, because it takes so long to cook it, but it's worth it for me. So yeah, just leave it for another. I'm just gonna check it in 1 hour. So this is the cooked version. After it's ready, when I see it's pretty dry inside, I just tear it in pieces, or I could use like kitchen scissors to cut them in different shapes. And I put some avocado sauce on top with some salt, pepper, garlic, chili, coconut yogurt, and it's so delicious, and it's even more delicious the next day because it's not super dry inside. But if I would use it in the oven for a long time, then it could become super dry, and it can be kept for a long time. So to make a bread in 1 day, I just don't use the pumpkin, just use the flour and make it with the flour in 1 day. But if I would like to put some veggies, then it's better to leave it for longer.